Good afternoon everyone. Welcome to the today's episode of Daily News Analysis of Next IS. Today is 11th October 2025. Let's start with the important topics of the day which we are going to discuss. The first is with reference to the NITI Aayog's roadmap for job creation in AI economy, important from GS3 Indian economy as well as science and tech perspective. Second is with reference to the Supreme Court's order regarding revisiting its earlier ruling of ban on firecracker in Delhi NCR during Diwali, important from GS3 environmental conservation as well as the pollution perspective. Third is with respect to the Nobel Peace Prize, important from GS2 international institution as well as international relations perspective. The fourth is with reference to the GEI Target Rules notification by central government, important from GS3 environmental conservation perspective. And the last decoded section is regarding the Taliban foreign minister visit to India, important from GS2 India and its neighborhood relations perspective. So let's start with the today's episode. NITI Aayog's roadmap for job creation in the AI economy. What is the backdrop of this particular news? NITI Aayog releases roadmap for job creation in the artificial intelligence economy, relevance GS3 science and tech, developments and their application and effects in everyday life. So let's go into the detail of the news. NITI Aayog today released roadmap for job creation in the AI economy. The roadmap examines how artificial intelligence is reshaping the tech services industry through the lens of work, worker and workforce. It calls out that while India's tech services sector faces the threat of significant job displacement by 2031, it also has opportunity to create 4 million new jobs in next 5 years. So what is the context of this particular news? In the uncertain times owing to the introduction of the AI, there has been increased concern regarding the loss of jobs especially in the IT as well as the related services. So in the context of this threat, NITI Aayog has released roadmap for the job creation in the AI economy, and it is with reference to the three aspects, that is the work, worker and workforce. So what it calls out, basically it calls out that while India's tech services sector faces the significant job displacement threat by 2031, yes, it is true. World Economic Forum in its report in 2024 has predicted that by 2030 almost 7 to 8 million jobs in the IT sector will be redundant owing to the introduction of AI, especially in the India. Most of them will be from India as well as the China. So in the context of this particular development, upcoming development, NITI Aayog roadmap cites that it also has opportunity to create 4 million new jobs in the next 5 years. So what is the goal? The goal of this particular document is that it tries to establish India as a trusted global AI workforce and innovation partner by 2035. So India should be the epicenter or center of the trusted global AI workforce. When it comes to the investment in the AI related research as well as the technology, India at present ranks 4 after USA, China, Japan and the fourth is India. What is the objective of this particular document? Outline a national strategy to transform India into the AI workforce capital of the world by 2035. As of now, India is the workforce capital when it comes to the services industry, that is IT related sector, but this particular document also highlights that India should be the capital of AI related workforce. What is the expected outcome of this particular document? Create sustainable AI driven employment and future ready human capital. So there is a significance for sustainability also, since the introduction of AI in these sectors is bringing certain kind of disruption. Whatever the AI driven employments will be there in the future, those should be sustainable to create a quality workforce and future ready human capital. So whatever the changes in the artificial intelligence sector or IT sector will come because of the introduction of AI, it should be able to create the future ready human capital. What is the approach of this particular document? Mission mode implementation, collective action and continuous innovation through various stakeholders participation, and it is being released by NITI Aayog and it is launched by BVR Subramaniam, who is the CEO of the NITI Aayog. He is also the former IAS officer who has done a tremendous job in the implementation of the effective implementation or successful implementation of the Swachh Bharat mission in India. So, what is the context as well as the rationale behind release of this particular roadmap for the job creation in the AI economy? AI's impact. Artificial intelligence is reshaping India's 245 billion technology and customer experience sectors. So basically, when it comes to the IT related or various technology related sectors, artificial intelligence is reshaping this particular huge chunk of sectors which cost around 245 billion. What are the challenges of this particular introduction of AI? Potential job displacement in the routine roles, that is the quality assurance engineers or L1 support agents by the 2031. So whatever the routine jobs that will be displaced or removed by the introduction of AI in near future. What is the likely opportunity of the introduction of AI? Possibility to create 4 million new AI related jobs in the next 5 years. So what is the opportunity, or I would rather say what is the goal of this particular document? The creation of 4 million new artificial intelligence jobs which will compensate basically, so what is the opportunity of this particular document? The possibility of creation of 4 million new AI related jobs, that is, which will compensate the loss of jobs in IT and other sectors. So what is the focus? Converting AI driven disruption into the job creation and innovation through rapid action. So this disruption should be transformed into the opportunity. So what are the key recommendations of this particular roadmap? The launch of National AI Talent Mission. So what is the particular objective of this mission? A nationally coordinated initiative to position India as a global epicenter of AI talent. So basically, the most basic objective of this particular mission is to make India as a global center of the AI talent or AI workforce. And it has, what is the aim? To build a large scale AI literacy AI skilling or innovation programs. So basically, when it comes to AI literacy in India, we are still in very incipient stage, and when it comes to skilling, we are progressively investing into the skilling of the workforce in AI, whereas through India AI mission, we are getting into the various innovation related programs of the AI talent. This roadmap or this document, AI in education. So integrate AI into school, university or vocational curricula, make AI understanding a foundational skill for all learners. So basically, integration of AI literacy in the school, from the school level only, just like whether it is a numerative or reading abilities, AI should become one of the foundational skill for all the learners from the primary school only, or university or vocational curricula. Even UPSC is planning to progressively integrate AI into its evaluation to reduce its dependence on the human, and they will progressively integrate into evaluation systems. So make AI understanding a foundational skill for all learners from the primary school level to university level. National reskilling engine. So upskill and reskill millions of the tech as well as the customer experience professionals and prepare the workforce for AI augmented higher value roles. So basically, whatever the workforce is there in the IT or related services industry, that should be reskilled or upskilled in context of the AI skills or AI technologies, and prepare the workforce for AI augmented or higher value roles. What are those higher value roles? Basically, ethical AI specialist or AI trainers or sentiment analyst for the progressive integration of the ethical aspects in the AI, artificial intelligence. So global AI talent magnet. So basically, this particular aspect related to the converting India into the global AI talent magnet, basically creation of the workforce which is a high value from the AI perspective, and this has to be achieved through various aspects like premier AI skilling destination or integration with India AI mission or academia, industry, government partnerships or generation of various computer infrastructures or data ecosystems. Now, when it comes to such infrastructure, computer infrastructure or data infrastructure, India is progressively become one of the largest center of the data centers, and computer infrastructure as well as the research networks into the to support the AI innovation. So let's have a look into the India AI mission basically. So what is the goal of this particular India AI mission? Establish India as a global leader in artificial intelligence through robust infrastructure, indigenous development, talent creation and ethical governance. So basically this is a more comprehensive mission which aims to make India as a global leader in the artificial intelligence, and it has a different aspect like generation of the creation of the robust infrastructure, indigenous development of the AI technologies, talent creation, that is the workforce creation, ethical governance, so that the regulation of the AI related aspect has to be done in the legal as well as the ethical manner. And what are the objectives? Robust creation of the robust AI computing infrastructure, enhancing the data quality as well as the promotion of the indigenous AI technologies. So for this, India is one of the largest investor in the AI technologies. To be more specific, fourth largest investor in the AI technology. Foster industry academia collaboration as well as the support AI startups. As per one of the FICCI report, India is one of the largest startup ecosystem for the AI related startups all over the world. Promotion of ethical, safe and responsible AI practices. Attract and nurture top AI talent within India. So these are the various objectives of the India Artificial Intelligence Mission. This is the practice question. Which of the following are identified as the three pillars of the National AI Talent Mission proposed by NITI Aayog? Please solve this MCQ. So what is the backdrop of this particular news? Supreme Court on Friday, that is on October 10th, 2025, indicated that it may revisit its April 3 order which imposed year-long ban on the manufacture, storage, sale and use of firecrackers in Delhi National Capital Region. What is the relevance? Important from GS3: conservation, environmental pollution, degradation and environmental impact assessment. So let's go into the detail of the news. Supreme Court on Friday indicated it may revisit its April 3 order imposing the year-long ban on the manufacture, storage, sale, use of firecrackers in the Delhi NCR, while reserving its verdict on pleas seeking permission to allow their production and sale in the region. So what is the background of this particular ruling? Supreme Court had earlier imposed year-long ban on the manufacture, storage, sale and use of firecrackers in Delhi NCR. It not just limits to Delhi but also extends to 14 districts of Haryana and 8 districts in Rajasthan, which affects large area beyond Delhi also. The ban, while declaring this ban on the firecracker storage or manufacture or sale, court had justified this on the basis of objective of curbing the pollution, especially during the Diwali as well as the winter smog. Now, what is the Supreme Court's current stand? That is on October 10th, 2025. That particular division bench was led by CJI B.R. Gavai and Justice K. Vinod Chandran. And what does it indicated? That it is going to revisit this April 3 order, and court is considering allowing the green firecracker certified by NIRI, that is National Environmental Engineering Research Institute, and PESO, Petroleum Explosives and Safety Organization, on a trial basis. What is the earlier judgment? What was the earlier judgment that was referred by the Supreme Court in 2018, Arjun Gopal versus Union of India? That particular ruling allowed only green firecrackers with reduced emissions and permissible noise levels, and it also banned online sales as well as the restricted sales to the licensed traders. So Supreme Court has said that it will revisit and modify this order if necessary. So what is the Supreme Court's air quality concerns? That is, means what are the air quality concerns that have been raised by the Supreme Court? The Chief Justice of India questioned whether Delhi's air quality index had worsened since 2018, and Advocate Uttara Babbar, who was the amicus curiae in this particular case, has said that in 2021 the particulate matter 2.5 rose from 163, that is in pre-Diwali level, to 354 post-Diwali, that was 117% increase. But in case of 2024, where this ban was in place, basically the increase was only 61%, showing some improvement when the ban was enforced. But in case of, as per the view of the Solicitor General, that is the central government view, there has been no clear data proving the firecrackers as a major cause of pollution in Delhi NCR, and air quality index has been more or less same since 2018. So, this is the data. This is the data given by the amicus curiae in this particular case, and this is the particular view of the center regarding the statistics of the air pollution. Now, what is the center's proposal to the court? Now, central government through the Solicitor General has proposed that Supreme Court should lift the blanket ban and permit the sale of NITI approved green crackers under strict regulations, and for that Central has given key suggestions that only licensed traders should be allowed to sell, there should be no online sale, ban on the chain crackers or fixed time slots for it. But during the hearing also, Solicitor General Tushar Mehta urged for the relaxation of the time limits for children to celebrate longer. So, whatever the time limits, those should be relaxed as per the Solicitor General. What were the court's observation as on enforcement of this firecracker ban? Chief Justice of India has traced for judicial propriety and adherence to the Arjun Gopal case timing restrictions. So, in Supreme Court's view, there should be the strict adherence to the timing restrictions for the firecrackers. Justice Chandran said that Delhi government must establish proper testing mechanism for verifying cracker composition. So, the other judge also stressed for establishing proper testing mechanism for the verification of the crackers composition, whether they are actually environmental friendly or less polluting. Currently, and also judge highlighted the fact that PESO, that is the Petroleum Explosives and Safety Organization, lacks its own lab in the NCR and depended on the Forensic Science Laboratory for which is already overburdened. And what are the implementations and monitoring challenges that have been cited by the Supreme Court? That only 4 out of the 55 samples tested in the 2022 had reports, highlighting the weak enforcement. QR codes that were used to verify the certified crackers were being misused as per the Center for Air Quality Monitoring report. And Supreme Court also suggested random sampling and inspection by the police as well as the PESO to prevent the violation of the firecracker ban. So, these are the various implementation challenges as well as the suggestions given by the Honorable Supreme Court's division bench regarding the implementation as well as the monitoring. So, what are the concerns raised by the industry, that is the manufacturing of firecrackers? The Manufacturers Association, that is the Federation of the Fireworkers Traders, has argued that this particular ban is arbitrary and not backed by any kind of scientific evidence. So, as per the Manufacturer Association, this ban is arbitrary and there is no any clear scientific evidence which suggests that the increase in the pollution during the Diwali time is because of the firecracker only. Stubble burning and vehicular emissions are the bigger pollution contributors as per the argument given by the industry. Also, it says that this particular order will impact the livelihood across the multiple states. So, what is the court's broader remarks in this context? CGI questioned why the ban applies only to Delhi NCR if the clean air is the fundamental right under the Article 21, right to life and personal liberty. And CGI, Chief Justice of India, also suggested that if pollution is a concern, restriction should apply nationwide, not just the regionally. So, this is the another kind of argument that has been proposed by the Supreme Court to evaluate the ban that has already been in place in case of Delhi NCR. So, what are the near future steps? Supreme Court will deliver its verdict soon after reviewing what is the data on air quality index as well as the pollution trends, feasibility of the regulated sale of the green crackers, and infrastructure for enforcement as well as this testing of the firecrackers, and decision may redefine India's approach to balance the environmental protection and cultural festivities across the India. So, these particular 3 aspects will be reviewed by the Supreme Court, and after that Supreme Court will deliver its final verdict on the firecracker ban. So let's have a short look into the green crackers. So what are the green crackers? Basically, green crackers are eco-friendly firecrackers designed to cause less air as well as the noise pollution than traditional firecrackers, and they were developed to balance the festive celebration with concern for the environmental protection. So to balance these two things, that is the festive celebration and environmental protection, these crackers have been developed, and to enable the sustainable celebration by reducing the pollution. There are basically three types of these green crackers, that is the safe water release crackers, which contains no sulfur and potassium; star, that is the safe thermite cracker, it also contains no sulfur and potassium nitrate, reduces the dust emissions and noise; and sulfur, that is safe minimal aluminum, it replaces aluminum with magnesium and lowers the air as well as the metal pollution caused by the firecrackers. So these are the various types. Basically these green crackers were developed by the NITI, that is the National Environmental Engineering Research Institute, which is established in Nagpur in 2018, and it works under the CSIR. So these are the various aspects like composition as well as the chemicals. The green crackers replace hazardous agents in traditional crackers with less polluting substances. These do not contain the barium nitrate, which is also the carcinogenic substance and one of the most harmful component in the conventional crackers. It uses potassium nitrate and aluminum instead of the magnesium and barium. It also uses carbon instead of arsenic and other toxic compounds. And what are the other environmental as well as the noise benefits? It lowers the emission of the particulate matter and toxic gases, reduced noise levels. In case of traditional crackers, it was 160 to 200 decibels. In case of green crackers, it is 100 to 130 decibels. So these are the environmental benefits. Now this is the practice MCQ question. With reference to the green crackers in India, consider the following statement. Please solve this MCQ and write your answer in the comment section. Now let's go into the Nobel Peace Prize. Next topic of the day, Nobel Peace Prize 2025, and it is given to the Maria Corina Machado, Iron Lady of the Venezuela, a democracy activist who has been fighting for the establishment of the proper democracy in the Venezuela since last 3 decades. So what is the backdrop? Nobel Peace Prize 2025 was awarded on Friday, October 10 to the Maria Corina Machado, a Venezuelan politician. And what is the relevance? Important from GS2, important international institutions, agencies, fora, their structure and mandate. Also important from the prelims perspective. Since 2020-2021 prelims, basically UPSC has shifted its focus on the various prize related MCQ questions. So from prelims perspective also it is very important. So let's have a look into the various facts related to the Nobel Peace Prize. So it is recipient is Maria Corina Machado, country is Venezuela, date of announcement October 10, 2025, and it is awarded by Norwegian Nobel Committee. So why she was being awarded this particular prestigious Nobel Peace Prize? Honored for her decade-long struggle for democracy and civil liberties in Venezuela. Recognized as leader of democracy movement in the country. And what was the citation given by the Nobel Committee? One of the most extraordinary example of the civilian courage in Latin America in recent times. So this was the praise given by the Nobel Committee on this particular Nobel awardee. And what is the significance of this particular award? It highlights the global recognition of the peaceful resistance and democratic activism in Latin America, which was frequently dominated by dictators in various countries. Symbolizes international support for the democratic reforms and human rights in Venezuela, the country which has been constant crisis since last 2 decades. So what is the history of decline of democracy in Venezuela? Basically, Venezuela, which is one of the most resource rich country of entire world and not only just Latin America, which contains huge reserves of the high quality crude oil. It was wealthy and peaceful country until 1990s, and Venezuela was among the longest running democracy of the Latin America. Basically, the erosion of the democratic practices, democratic institution, democratic values came under the Hugo Chavez from 1999, and he had rewrote the constitution without any kind of legislative or parliament approval, used populist appeal to centralize power. Basically, he is one of the considered as the one of the most important proponent of the freebies politics in not just in Venezuela but in entire Latin America. And he used these populist freebies policies to centralize power and to centralize power in this country. So after his death in 2012, basically Hugo Chavez death in 2012, his successor was Nicolas Maduro since 2013, and he also continued his authoritarianism with economic collapse and repression. Basically, Venezuela in last one decade has faced one of the severe inflation as well as the economic collapse. 2024 elections of the country were widely condemned as rigged. Opposition leader Mercado was barred from contesting the election, and also this particular 2024 election was fought on the aspect of the economic failure of the country despite having vast oil reserves because of the economic mismanagement and corruption which only enriched Maduro's loyalists, but citizens in actual suffered. So this Maria Corina Machado, what is the background? She born in Caracas in 1967 in a wealthy family and became the engineer, educated in industrial engineering. What is the early activism? She founded the Atenea Foundation for the street children. Later on, she founded the Sumet, a civic organization for monitoring elections. She preferred ballots over bullets and believed in democratic values. Confrontation with the Hugo Chavez. In 2004, a recall referendum of the Hugo Chavez, Sumet, that is the NGO of the Maria Corina, organized a national campaign to recall Chavez under Article 72 of the Constitution. And after this campaign, she got the international attention regarding as a democratic activist in the Latin America. But in home, that is in Venezuela, she was treated as or criticized as a division due to her ties with the US. Why? Because her NGO was getting support from the US democratic groups like National Endowment for the Democracy. She also visited White House in 2005 to meet the President George W. Bush, fueling accusation of US interference in the Venezuela. What is her political journey? Basically, she entered in politics formally in 2012 and joined the opposition coalition as a coalition for the Democratic Union. She fought for the presidential race in the 2012 and ran in opposition primaries but lost to the Henry Capriles. Post 2013, her resistance and defiance against Maduro continued. Nicolas Maduro, who is at present the dictator of the Venezuela, she led major anti-government protest. She faced arrest, threats and disqualification. But in spite of these arrests and various FIRs and threats, she chose to stay in Venezuela, unlike many other leaders who opted to go out of the country. And what was her slogan? Till the very end, which was considered as the symbol of resilience and defiance. And let's have a look into the kind of crisis that Venezuela has been facing because in the era of the Maduro, economic collapse. This particular Venezuela has faced largest economic contraction outside the wartime in last 50 years all over the world, and because of this continuous inflation and economic mismanagement, there has been a growing public frustration against the mismanagement of the president. Now in 2024, Mercado faced presidential campaign. Although she was barred from running for election, her ally Edmundo Goranez ran as a proxy candidate, but those elections were widely rigged and international observers as well as the local monitors also criticized this. So what is the Nobel Committee's recognition or rationale for the Nobel Peace Prize? They said that they honored Mercado for her peaceful democratic resistance to the dictatorship in the country, and they also praised her leadership in mobilizing citizens to safeguard the democracy despite the repression by the Maduro government as well as the Hugo Chavez government. And what was the core message that has been given by the Nobel Committee? Venezuela's journey from democracy to dictatorship under the Chavez and Maduro shows how populism can erode the democratic institutions in any country, and Maria Corina Machado symbolizes non-violent struggle, democratic resilience and hope for the Venezuela's democratic future. So, this is the core message that has been given by the Nobel Committee in the praise of Maria Corina Machado. Now, let us have a brief look into the history of Nobel Peace Prize. Basically, its origin, Nobel Peace Prize is one of the 5 Nobel Prizes established by the Alfred Nobel, who was a Swedish industrialist, inventor and armaments manufacturer. What are the other Nobel Prizes? Chemistry, physics, physiology or medicine and literature. What is the selection, which is the selection authority? Norwegian Nobel Committee. And what is the composition, committee composition? It has been decided by the Parliament of Norway. And what is the basis? Selection process follows the provisions which are being given in the Alfred Nobel's will. Now, let us have a look into the practice question. The 2025 Nobel Peace Prize was awarded to the Maria Corina Machado for her work in. Please solve this MCQ and type your answer in the comment section. Now, let us have a look into the next topic of the day, that is the centre's notification of the first legally binding GEI Target Rules 2025. So, basically centre has notified, what is the backdrop of this particular news? Central government has notified the first legally binding GEI Target Rules 2025 for 4 high emission sectors, that is the aluminium, cement, chloralkali and pulp and paper. So, what is the relevance? Important from GS3, environmental conservation, pollution, degradation. Now, let's go into the detail of the news. Basically, centre has notified first legally binding greenhouse gas emission intensity target rules. First legally binding greenhouse gas emission intensity rule, that is GEI target rules for 4 sectors. Which are those 4 sectors? Aluminium, cement, chloralkali and pulp and paper. Before we get into the detail of the news, what is greenhouse gas emission intensity? What is the gas emission intensity? What is the, it refers to the greenhouse gas emissions per unit of the product output. For example, what is the greenhouse gases emitted by for the production of 1 ton of cement or 1 ton of pulp or paper product? So, these rules set the greenhouse emission targets per unit of the product output, that is the per ton of the cement or aluminium produced. So, these are per unit, that is the per ton, and these rules basically are implemented under which scheme? Carbon credit and trading schemes. Which is, what is the name of the scheme? Carbon credit trading scheme 2023. And what is the objective, or what is the larger objective behind this? To support the India's Paris Agreement commitment for reducing the GDP emission intensity by 45% from 2005 to 2030. So, under Paris Agreement, that is that which was conducted in 2015, basically in COP21, India had committed under its intended nationally determined contribution. India has committed to reduce the GDP emissions intensity by 45% from 2005 to 2013, and in the context of this larger goal, government has notified those rules. So, what is the compliance mechanism? Basically, industries which will meet target of will earn the carbon credits issued by the Bureau of Energy Efficiency, which can be traded in the domestic carbon market. So, those industry which will meet the rule, the targets given under these rules, they will be issued that they will earn the carbon credits, and those will be tradable in the domestic carbon market. Non-compliant industries means those industries which are not able to meet the target given under the rules, they will have to either buy those credits to cover the shortfall or pay the environmental compensation imposed by the Central Pollution Control Board. So, this is basically the working mechanism of these particular rules. So, what is the scope as well as the coverage of this particular rules? It covers mandatory for 282 units for 2025 to 2026-7. So, it covers more than 186 units of the cement industry, 13 units of the aluminum industry, 30 units of the chlor-alkali industry, pulp and paper industry, 53 units. So, these are the various units covered under these particular rules. So, and what will be the measurement standard? The measurement will be expressed in tons of the carbon dioxide equivalent covering all the greenhouse gases based on the global warming potential. So, this is the measurement potential of the these are the measurement potential covered under the rules. What are the assigned targets? So, target includes reduction in the GEI are moderate for 25-26. So, in the initial year those targets are moderate, that is average 2 to 3%, and those targets will be ramped up to the 7.5% by 26-27. So, in first year there are modest targets to cover. And what is the sector wise variation? Basically, for cement industry it cover 4.7 to 7.6% reduction in the 2 years, that is in next 2 years, whereas in case of pulp industry it covers 15% reduction in the next 2 years. And basically as of now it covers only large corporation of the cement like Vedanta, Hindalco, Bharat Aluminium. So, large industries are basically being covered. Now, let us go into the historical evolution of these rules basically, or CCTS scheme, basically carbon capture and trading schemes. Basically this particular CCTS scheme was preceded by the perform, achieve and trade scheme which was started in the 2012, and this particular PAT scheme focused on the energy efficiency, but it lacked a domestic carbon credit trading framework or mechanism, because of which it could not become successful. So, in course of time it was supplanted by the CCTS, which bridges this gap by enabling market based trading of credits for meeting the emission reduction targets in those energy intensive or emission intensive industries of the India. Now, let us have a look into the carbon credit trading scheme. Now, see, it is India's market based framework to reduce the greenhouse gas emission operationalized under Energy Conservation Amendment Act 2022, and it is designed to meet the climate targets under the Paris Agreement by creating national carbon market where industries can trade carbon credits. So, what is the mechanism or objective of the of this particular scheme? It is India's market based framework to reduce the greenhouse gas emission operationalized under Energy Conservation Amendment Act 2022. So, this is the statutory basis of this scheme, Energy Conservation Act, and what is the objective? Meeting the climate targets under the Paris Agreement declared by India through its INDC, intended nationally determined contribution, by creating the national carbon market where industries can trade the carbon credits. So, this is the particular mechanism as well as the objective. So, create a cost effective way for India to decarbonize, shift from previous PAT scheme and achieve nationally determined contribution. So, there are threefold objective of this particular CCTS scheme: to create a cost effective way for India to decarbonize or reduce the carbon emission intensity of industries, shift from the previous PAT scheme which was by and large unsuccessful owing to lack of carbon market mechanism in the domestic sector, and to achieve the nationally determined contribution which was declared by the Indian government in 2015 under Paris Agreement COP21. And it also introduces the carbon pricing to put the value on emissions, incentivizing industries to reduce their carbon footprint per unit of production. And it has basically the compliance mechanism, and in case of governance, it is administered by the bodies like Bureau of Energy Efficiency as well as the National Steering Committee for the Indian Carbon Market, and it includes the transition from PAT by which focused on this particular PAT scheme was focused on energy efficiency, but in case of CCTS it directly targets greenhouse gas intensity reductions. So, PAT scheme was having very limited target or limited goal, but in case of governance in case of CCTS scheme, it directly targets the greenhouse gas intensity reductions. Now let's go into the practice question. Which of the following sectors are covered under the greenhouse gas emission intensity target rules 2025? Please solve this MCQ and write your answer in the comment section. Now let's go into the last topic of the day, which we are going to discuss. Taliban foreign minister visit to India, and it is the first official visit to India basically. What is the backdrop of this particular news? The Taliban foreign minister of Afghanistan Amir Khan Muttaqi is in India for its first official visit from October 9 to 16. What is the relevance? GS to India and its neighborhood relations. Now let's go into the detail of the news. Basically, Taliban foreign minister of Afghanistan, that is the Amir Khan Muttaqi, is in India for its first official visit from October 9 to 16. He will meet the external affairs minister, that is S. Jaishankar, on Friday, and then he will visit the seminaries in Agra and Deoband. And what is the objective or what is the calculation behind this changing geopolitical situation in case of India? Because of the India's security calculus as well as the changing geopolitical conditions in Indian subcontinent, India has dictated this path, but New Delhi has a tricky territory to navigate, especially with the Taliban's treatment of the women as well as the regressive policies. So basically, India as of now has not formally recognized Taliban government which is in power, which has usurped power from the Ashraf Ghani government in 2021, but at the same time it is welcoming the Taliban foreign minister. So what compelled India to do so? It is because of the various geopolitical developments in the Indian subcontinent as well as the India's neighborhood, and in the especially in the context of Taliban's treatment of the women, like ban on their education or other aspects and other regressive policies that have been initiated by the Taliban. Now, what is the diplomatic significance of the visit? India is engaging with Taliban but has not granted formal recognition. So far, India has not recognized Taliban government in Afghanistan, and at the same time India has been consistently engaging with Taliban. Engagement is driven by the geopolitical changes and security interest amid concerns over the Taliban treatment of women and minorities. So basically, what are the causes behind this engagement? Geopolitical changes and security interest of the India. Now let's have a look into the India-Taliban relations. What is the historical evolution or what is the historical background of the India-Taliban relation? The first first instance of contact between Indian government as well as the Taliban comes after the hijack of IC-814 crisis, that is the Kandahar hijack of Air India. Then External Affairs Minister Jaswant Singh interacted with the Taliban Foreign Minister Wakil Ahmad Muttawakil in that time, and Taliban emissary, that is the Mullah Abdul Salim Jaif, met India's ambassador in Islamabad Vijay K. Nambiar. So this was the first instance of India's official engagement with the Taliban in the context of, in the backdrop of hijack of the IC-814 plane by the Taliban. So post 2021, so what is the type of or nature of engagement between India and Taliban post 2021 usurpation of the power by Taliban from the Ashraf Ghani government? Cautious engagement strategy. So basically, on August 31, 2021, there was a first official contact of the Indian ambassador to Qatar Deepak Mittal with Taliban leader Sher Mohammad Abbas Tanakjai in Doha. In that particular meeting, Taliban expressed a desire to continue cultural, economic, trade ties with India. Then next, in September 2021, India referred Taliban as those in positions of power and authority without granting any formal recognition to the Taliban government. In December 2021, India sent 1.6 tons of the medicine, signaling humanitarian engagement with Taliban government. Afghan embassy in Delhi ceased operation in 2023, citing lack of support. And in May 2025, in the aftermath of the Operation Sindoor, our external affairs ministers S. Jaishankar spoke with the Taliban, and subsequently Taliban condemned Pahalgam attack. So what these developments indicate, there is a continuous level of formal or informal engagement with the Taliban by Indian government. Now, what is the compulsion behind India to welcome or to invite the Taliban foreign ministers? What are the geopolitical compulsions? So, why India is engaging now? The first and foremost, Taliban officials see India as a trustworthy partner, unlike the US. So, basically, Indian government as well as the Indian people enjoy tremendous goodwill in Afghanistan because of the India's historical generous nature and various development project, people to people contacts. Taliban seeks infrastructure development assistance from India. So far, India has vividly engaged in infrastructure development, whether it is a construction of the Salma Dam or India-Afghan Friendship Dam, whether it is a construction of the various electricity projects, whether it is a construction of various libraries, whether it is a construction of various roads in the different provinces, or a distribution of various aid to the Taliban schools. India has offered tremendous amount of the infrastructure development assistance to Taliban or Afghanistan. India aims to protect its past investments and maintain the influence in Afghanistan. So, basically, whatever the India's investment or development projects or infrastructure projects were there till 2021 in Afghanistan, India wants to continue with that, or India wants to build upon that, and by the reason of which India will be able to continue influence, spread its influence in the Taliban, Afghanistan. Now, what are the second reason is with reference to the changing global context. So, what are the context? Basically, Pakistan Taliban ties have soared to all time low. 3 days back, Pakistan army has conducted airstrikes across the Taliban Pakistan Afghanistan border in order to hunt the TTP terrorist, and this particular attack was condemned by Taliban government. Iran is in weakened condition owing to Israel-Iran war in recent past. Russia is preoccupied with the Ukraine war, and US under the Trump 2.0 is getting more inward looking policies, as a result of which China has been trying to dominate the ties or deepening ties with the Kabul in the context of Taliban's tremendous mineral wealth, especially in the border region related to the on the China, that is on eastern Afghanistan part. India sees this is as a right time to upgrade its engagement to avoid the strategic marginalization in this great game. Taliban faces no strong internal opposition, this time consolidating control. So, basically, earlier in 2003-4, Taliban was having strong contender in within the country in terms of the Northern Alliance, but as of now, Taliban has successfully consolidated its power within Afghanistan, and there has been no any kind of formal rival or any other group which is in the even position to challenge the authority of Taliban. So, as a result of which, since they are going to stay here in the Afghanistan for long, India has decided to take the pragmatic approach and to engage with the Taliban. Now, let us go into the Pakistan angle of this particular engagement. Basically, Taliban-Pakistan rift. Deportation of the Afghan refugee by Pakistan had strained ties. After coming to after this particular Taliban government came to power in 2021, Pakistan government has deported lakhs of Taliban Afghanistan refugees back into the Afghanistan, as a result of which there has been a continuous strain in the ties. Also, Pakistan government frequently alleges that Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan terrorist. What they do basically, they conduct terrorist attack across the Durand line, that is the border, and they go into the Afghanistan, and they are being given a safe haven by the Taliban. So, India has in the context of this particular strained ties between Pakistan and Afghanistan, India has decided to take advantage or strategic advantage, and India has provided material support and humanitarian assistance to Kabul to help the manage crisis. So, basically, in the context of increase in the influx of the refugees, Afghan refugees in their own country, that is in Afghanistan, India had said material support or humanitarian assistance to Kabul. Basically, India is also trying to sign the agreement, that is to promote the Chabhar port for the Afghan trade and aid transit. So whatever the Chabahar port which we have been trying to develop, which we are developing in Iran, that will be act as a one of the transit route for the sending of the aid to Afghanistan. Now, what are the expectations of the Taliban from India? So basically, Taliban requested India to issue the visa for Afghan businessmen, students and patients. So basically, Afghanistan basically one of the largest producer of the agricultural products or various dry fruits basically. So in the context of this, Taliban wants visas, issuance of visas by India to their businessmen, students which have been learning in the India, taking education, patients. India is one of the largest hub of the medical tourism in entire Asia, owing to its very low cost of the treatment and resumption of the development projects across all 34 provinces. So this particular fact has to be taken into account that across all the 34 provinces or 34 districts basically, which are called as the provinces in Afghanistan, India has development projects in all those districts. And what Taliban wants, India should resume those projects, development projects. What are the India's concerns? India has so far no formally recognized Taliban government which is there in the Afghanistan. India cited security risk in visa issuance to the Afghanistan students or Afghanistan businessmen. As of now, India do not have any functional consulate or visa offices in Kabul. Despite this, India is continuing its development project as a sign of long-term engagement with Afghanistan. So, what are the strategic takeaways this particular visit of Afghanistan foreign minister, that is the Taliban foreign minister? India's evolving approach, that is the realpolitik with caution. So, basically India is trying to engage with Taliban without granting them the formal recognition. Objective: to preserve the strategic presence in the Afghanistan in the context of growing influence of the China within Afghanistan, to counter the China and Pakistan and safeguard the investments there, to safeguard the investments that have been already done by the India. It also reflects the shift from moral posturing to the pragmatic diplomacy in India's Afghanistan policy, and balancing act between the humanitarian engagement and non-legitimization of the regressive governments. So basically, India is trying to basically to promote the balancing act between the humanitarian engagement, whether it is the refugee crisis of the Afghanistan, whether it is a earthquake crisis of the Afghanistan, or whether there had been a floods in the Afghanistan also. In all those instances or crisis instances, India was one of the first country to help Afghanistan in terms of material, in terms of medicines, in terms of manpower, in terms of technology. So basically, when it comes to humanitarian engagement, India is one of the most prominent country in case of Afghanistan's crisis and non-legitimization of the regressive governance. Owing the present Taliban regime is regressive owing to its policies with reference to the women or human rights or civil liberties. So India will not give any kind of formal recognition. So this is the practice question. India's engagement with the Taliban since 2021 reflects a shift from moral posturing to the pragmatic diplomacy. Critically examine India's cautious engagement with Taliban in the context of its strategic interest and regional security calculus. Please write the answer of this question. This is all for the day. Thank you.